What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Azkhalon, back with another video from Disney World. This is my wife, Dixie, aka Mrs. Azkhalon, and we're going to talk about our resort split stay from our trip. We stayed at the Art of Animation Resort, and now we're staying at Coronado Springs. So we're actually recording in our hotel room in Coronado Springs. You have anything you want to say, Miss Azkhalon? Mrs. Azkhalon?
Let's get to it.
All right, so we're going to start first of all with the price of the resorts, and so I'm going to let Mrs. Azkhalon kind of take charge here.
Okay, well, Art of Animation is a value resort like the All Stars and Pop Century. Coronado Springs is a moderate, so typically they are different in price. Values are lower than moderate, but for this week they were the same price. So I thought, why not try both? So it's good to go ahead and check discounts, things like that, because sometimes you can get moderates for a lot less, and you can always use a travel agent to help you with that. Most are at no extra cost to you, so that's a good thing to do. So yeah, again, this week both resorts were the exact same price.
All right. And so the second thing we're going to talk about is, well, let's back it up. So for price, I guess for this trip, Coronado Springs kind of wins in comparison to Art of Animation, right? Because it's typically more expensive.
Yes, I feel like you do get we're getting a little bit more for our money.
Okay.
At Coronado Springs, but both are great resorts.
All right. So moving on to transportation. So at Art of Animation, you have multiple options for transportation to the parks. So you have the bus system, of course. And the cool thing I liked about Art of Animation, which is different than Coronado Springs, is they have each park kind of separated from each other, and then they have queue markings.
At the bus stop. There are different bus stops for each park.
Yes.
At the front of the resort.
Whereas Coronado Springs, you just have a bus stop every, so often.
And everybody's waiting for any random bus that shows up. So it's kind of a cluster.
It's chaotic, I guess you can say, because you may be sitting there and then a bus for Magic Kingdom shows up and you're going to Epcot, and so you got to wait for the bus to Epcot. And we also had a friend who they told her which park she was going to that day.
She was staying at Ranchos here at Coronado. Everybody got on the bus for Magic Kingdom, and all of a sudden they all arrived at Hollywood Studios. And the bus driver swears that it said Hollywood Studios on the sign, but everybody on the bus was like, no, it said Magic Kingdom. That's why we got on here. So be sure and ask your bus driver before you get on, or make sure that you hear him say where your destination is. That will help.
Yeah, because at Coronado Springs, when the bus pulls up, it may have on the side displayed which park, or if it's staying within the resort, it may have it on the side, but it may be different than what it actually is. We were at bus stop 2, so we were typically the first stop, and so the bus may pull up and show Epcot on the side, but it was actually going to Hollywood Studios. And so usually the bus driver will step out and let you know that, but sometimes they don't, so it's a good idea to ask them. And then I think eventually it changes as they circle around and pick up the other people. So for transportation,
well, the other good thing about Art of Animation that Coronado Springs does not have is the Skyliner.
Oh, forgot about
which
Skyliner.
Is the new mode of transportation across Disney property, and it's only available at certain resorts and certain parks. Epcot and Hollywood Studios are both destinations, but the resorts that have access to the Skyliner are Art of Animation, Pop Century, Caribbean Beach, which is the hub for the entire system, and Riviera, which is beautiful. So that is one thing that's available at Art of Animation that's not available here at Coronado, and I kind of miss it. Yeah. Just saying.
The Skyliners are nice. The queues for the Skyliners can kind of stack up before the parks open, so it's probably better to take a bus. And Coronado Springs and Art of Animation, I think the buses were coming at a good frequency.
It's maybe better to take bus for rope drop. But for the rest of the day, Skyliner's where it's at.
Yes. So I guess Art of Animation kind of wins in that category.
I think Art of Animation wins for transportation. I do.
All right, so that's Art of Animation 1, I guess. And they were tied on price if we were keeping score. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the dining options. So one thing we have to go ahead and mention is our refillable mugs. So we bought refillable mugs at Art of Animation.
Because we do this every time.
We do it every time.
And we planned to use it here as well.
And I think they start at, what, $20?
Yes.
And so the mugs, when you go into the, the main hub, I guess, of the different resorts.
The main food court.
The main food court, you can refill these mugs at any time as much as you want to for $20. I actually paid $30 for a Star Wars mug. That was a little bit different.
He's special.
Yes. And if you saw my previous video, you got to see that Star Wars mug in the video. But anyway, so we spent $50 on refillable mugs, thinking we're going to get to use them for the entire week. Well, we got to use them at Art of Animation a couple of times, but then when we came over to Coronado Springs, we were told that we cannot use the refillable mugs.
Apparently, at Coronado Springs and Caribbean Beach right now, they are not doing that. They've closed the drink stations down. Just at those two resorts, you can still get refills at Values and Deluxes. So it's just these two. So I was like, I'm out $50. What am I going to do? So without going into too much detail, Disney made good on it.
We got some pixie dust.
Yeah, if you have that problem, just talk to them. They're very, very nice.
Yes. And so anyway, so we wanted to talk about that. And then as far as dining options are concerned, like restaurants and stuff, I feel Coronado Springs definitely has more to offer than Art of Animation when it comes to dining. We're actually, in a little bit, we're going to go and eat at one of the Coronado Springs restaurants, Three Bridges. Mm-hmm. And so... It's
on the water. It's really nice.
Yes, it's very nice. And so they also have, their main food court area, they have Rick's, which is a
sports bar and grill, and then they also have their own food court, which is very nice. It has really good food options as well. I think there's maybe one other food option that's closed right now. Oh, I forgot. At Grand Casino Tower, there is Dahlia Lounge, which is a bar, but they serve like small plates like tapas. So it's really nice. I kind of hope we get to go there before we leave, but. Anyway, but at Art of Animation, all you got is Landscape of Flavors food court.
Yeah, the food court.
Which, from what I understand, used to be pretty good as far as a quick service food court goes. But now, I mean, their options are pretty much the same as the All Stars and Pop Century. You know, you got your pizza, your burgers, your chicken tenders, things like that, which, you know, that's good for kids, but for people with a more sensitive palate.
I come to eat when I come to Disney World.
or who want maybe something different each day, then a moderate's going to have more options for you.
Yes. So I guess with dining options, Coronado Springs is probably the best bet there. So It looks like we got 1 point for each of those if we're keeping score for the categories that we're looking at. Although, I mean, I guess it's 2 points because if you include price. All right, and then the last thing we want to talk about in this video is theming. And decorations, and so Art of Animation has pretty good theming for Disney.
If you want to take your kids to something that screams Disney, Art of Animation is wonderful. There's bigger than life, you know, sculptures everywhere. Where we stayed at the Little Mermaid room, so there was huge Ursula, huge King Triton, a bunch of statues, you know, things for kids to play on and take pictures with.
All of Ariel's goodies, her little treasure boxes.
Yeah, our room was it looked like the Little Mermaid threw up in there. It was wonderful. It was so cute. So cute.
Threw up.
Even the bathroom.
I thought we were under the sea in the room, but yeah, it looked like the Little Mermaid threw up.
If you want theming, Art of Animation's where to go. So the Little Mermaid rooms are studios, and then your Cars, Lion King, and Finding Nemo all have family suites. So if you're going there with a big family, a big party, whatever, those are good. If you're going there just as a couple or just with maybe one child or something like that, Little Mermaid room is great.
Whereas Coronado Springs, I guess the theme is kind of like...
It's supposed to be like Mexico and Southwest.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. It's much more subtle. It's not like Disney in your face type of theming, but there are little Disney touches here and there. For example, in our room, it's very neutral tones. It's very muted. But then there are a couple of pictures of the Three Caballeros on the wall, which is really cute and Disney-ish. So, but yeah, the grounds at this moderate are
so
beautiful.
Nice. I actually did a video earlier where I walked across the Three Bridges and took a look at fountains playing and different things like that, and it's just amazing here. Like, I really feel like I took a trip to like a jungle somewhere in like South America, but like just like very well kept for and not just crazy wild. Also saw a turkey here at Coronado Springs, so that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I guess as far as theming is concerned, it depends on what you want. So I guess both of them will get a point there.
Yeah, if you want something a little more elegant, then Coronado would win.
Definitely.
If you want something that says, I am here at Disney and I want all the Disney, Art of Animation.
All right, so recap, I guess with the two of these, I mean, as far as comparison is concerned, it depends on what you're looking for and what you want.
I've loved both of them.
Yeah, both of them have been really nice, been a pleasant stay, been very quiet. We haven't had any issues with noise or anything like that. So again, I guess it just depends on what you want. If you want Disney, Art of Animation. If you want something a little more refined, Coronado Springs. All right, so before we close this video, we have a little story to talk about from Epcot yesterday. So I guess I'll kick it off and maybe let Dixie finish it. So we saw this guy walk in the park, and it was kind of funny because he came out of the restroom, but he had a shirt that said, I pooped at Disney. And we just thought it was hilarious, especially since he was coming out of the bathroom when we first saw him. We encountered him at least, I think, one more time.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we're leaving the building where we went to the restroom, and then
we're talking about the guy's shirt.
Yes. Okay.
And all of a sudden, something flies past my face. I look down. A bird has pooped right on my shirt as we're talking about the poop shirt. And I was like, I like his poop shirt better.
So Dixie got pooped on at Disney. She needs a shirt that says, I got pooped on at Disney.
It's happening.
All right, well, thank you guys for checking out this video. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. We will maybe have another video or so of our Disney trip. Definitely when we get back home, we'll probably do some sort of recap video. And yes, I got other videos coming soon, video game playthroughs. So yeah, like this video, subscribe to my channel. It's your boy Azkhalon, Mrs. Azkhalon. We'll see you later. We're about to go get some food.